Modeling job is interesting. You have good opportunities and experience, but not all job. Probably 70% of the job is not that interesting. For this kind of job, $100, $200, it's the same as a company. If people watching, I don't think it's a good idea to come in Japan in purpose to have this not stable situation. If you want to try because it's interesting, have your own job, and on your holidays, why not?
Welcome to Unpacking Japan. I'm Toby, and today we welcome Fanny.
Hello.
Thank you so much for coming all the way from Tokyo today. You work as a model here in Japan. You are also a live streamer on Twitch and recently started making content on YouTube. You've been through many phases in your past 10 years living here, and we're going to go back on this journey with you and kind of understand what basically brought you here today.
With pleasure.
And as our guests, I want to start at the very beginning. And what got you interested in Japan in the first place?
I think it's the same for a lot of different people who's interested about Japan. It's when you start in watch anime in your childhood, and I wasn't really into it. I mean, I liked it, but I wasn't like, I really want to live in Japan. I really love Japan. I wasn't like that. But yes, my first time I discovered the Japanese culture was in Japanese anime.
We actually just had this entire conversation in French just before, so we're going through this again. However, there was this one interesting point which, upon what you just said, I was reflecting on my kind of relationship with Japan as well. And I also kind of interacted with anime when I was younger, but I don't think I knew this was Japanese at the time. Mm-hmm. Did you know, this anime is from Japan?
I think I knew it was from Japan, probably because I didn't watch anime when I was really young. I was maybe after 10 years old. And also I had a friend who was watching also anime, so we spoke about this. It's Japanese anime. And for me, I could make the difference between Japanese anime and non-Japanese anime, I think.
What were those big differences for you?
I think you really have a Japanese culture in Japanese anime, like to ganbaru.
Kind of overcome yourself, keep going.
Yes, do your best. Do your best, and even if it's very difficult, even if the enemy is really far stronger than you, you have to defeat it. I don't know. Never forget.
Never give up?
Never give up, yeah.
Like in this shonen anime, right? You have this character, this hero, and he meets a challenger, he loses, he has to get stronger, then he wins, and then he meets another guy who's even stronger, and it's kind of the same story and repeat.
Yes.
So that was something that for you was very Japanese and different than the Western type anime?
Yeah, but thinking now, probably in the non-Japanese anime, it's also the case, but I think it's really strong in Japanese anime. And also different kind of cultures that, for example, in school anime, I think you really have this feeling that you have to make a group. And even if a character is a bad person, he is included in the group. And I really felt that when I was watching Japanese anime.
So that they stereotype a little bit the characters, but that everyone still sticks together a little bit.
Yeah.
Was this already a time when you thought, I want to try living in Japan? Or was it just like, this is fun, this is interesting, and I'm just enjoying watching those anime?
This is fun, this is interesting, but I didn't have the purpose to live in Japan.
When did that come? When did you first think, I want to try moving to Japan?
Actually, I didn't want to live in Japan, but I did a degree in economy, and I wanted to do a master degree in economy for Asian country. At this moment, I decided to go to Japan to learn the language because I needed to have a Asian language in purpose to go into the master degree. So basically, I went to Japan in the first place just for learning the language. And then I wanted to go back in France after that.
To do your master's?
Yes.
But 10 years later, you're still here. So something changed along the way.
Yes. I had 1 year in Japan, learning Japanese, and I said, maybe I need 1 year more and 1 year more. And yes, 10 years. And I never came back.
What was this thing that made you want to stay? When you first arrived here and you're like, oh, I'll just be for 1 year, but very quickly something changed, right?
Yes. The thing that changed, it's I found a Japanese boyfriend. I had also more and more friends here. I had my home. I find a job. And so this is like practical reason. But also, I became more and more interested about Japanese culture and Japanese people reaction. Sometimes you feel like it's really weird. Why are they acting like this in this situation? And I really wanted to understand Japan. Basically, I got a passion for Japan, probably.
Do you have any examples of these things that really triggered your interest, where you observed this in the street and you're like, why is it like this and different than France?
Probably very, very basic thing, but when you go into Japan, everyone is so nice, so gentle, and you start to understand that it's because they are polite and because they don't say what they really think. And you want to understand why, but it's easier to tell the truth in this situation. Why are you not telling it? And you begin to understand that there is a face, a mask that every Japanese have. And it's so interesting.
It's this famous tatemae and honmi, right?
Yes.
What they show and what they kind of really feel or really think.
Yes.
So you discover this and you think, oh, this is kind of interesting. I want to learn more. I want to experience this more and kind of stay longer.
Yeah, because it's so different. I mean, I come from France. In Europe, of course, we are different, but not that much, you know. So very interesting to see how Japanese people live, have the social relation in the family, etc., etc. Very interesting.
You first came on a student visa, right? You came to study Japanese so that you could go back to France for your master's. How was it like for you to kind of enter this Japanese language school system and experience this as your first point of entry in Japan?
For entry in Japan, so yes, I went to a school in the first place. So you have to prepare in advance, like 6 to 9 months, probably. And it was difficult for me because it was the first time I went out France, probably, for such a long time. A little bit scary. I was young also. I was 22 years old. But easy. I mean, the school helped me to have an apartment.
Oh, cool.
Helped me to, it was a guest house, but helped me to have a guest house. Helped me to open a bank account. So, yeah, they helped a lot.
A lot of people, maybe when they come to Japan, they come with like a lot of expectations. It's going to be like this, it's going to be like that. And then they're surprised to find out that sometimes, often, things are different than the expectations. Did you have these kind of ideas, preconceived ideas when you moved to Japan, or?
Not really. As I said, I just watched a little bit anime when I was young, even if I liked it. I wasn't like on YouTube looking for, how is it in Japan? So I didn't have stereotype or idea about how is it in Japan. So when I arrived, I had no surprise it's just full discovering.
Everything was kind of new and you just took it in as it came.
Yes.
Were there any things that for you were really, really cool? Like you moved to Japan, oh, this is awesome. We should have this in France as well.
It's basic answer, but security and very good service, probably.
It's interesting because it's a simple and straightforward answer, security and kind of good service. But a lot of people coming from a lot of different countries say this. So it really means something, I think.
Yeah, because it's so particular in Japan. Everything. It's so safe. You can walk on the street even by night. I never felt threatened in any way in 10 years in Japan. Not even one time. That's a big thing, I think.
So your first few years, you kind of explore and experiment. You're not yet set on staying here. It's like, oh, I'll stay a little bit more. I'll stay one more year. So you do your language studies, then you do working holiday, and then you go back to language studies.
Yes.
You must have gotten to a pretty good level of Japanese during this time.
I spent 2 years in Japanese school. Probably because I had Japanese boyfriend and I lived with him for 3 years, and after another Japanese for 4 years, and both didn't speak English. That was the best learning. Of course, the school was like learning the basic, but after that, for this reason, I have probably a good Japanese.
Japanese language schools really push you to pass exams. For most of them. That was the case for the school that I attended. The goal was to get everyone to pass in 2 so they can go to Senmongako after, or university, or get a job. But it wasn't really focused on learning to use the language, right? How was your experience? Was it similar? Did you complement your language studies with something else outside?
It was the same for me, same experience. They push for exam. In my schools, I had 2 different courses, like people who want to learn the language and people who want to go to Senmongako, technical school. And people who wanted to go to Senmongako was really, really focused on exam, because you have to have an exam in purpose to apply for Senmongako. And you have the normal courses, which I did. And it was also for exam, but just for the exam to pass the next level. And they pushed because if you didn't have good mark enough, your visa will be took.
They will remove your visa or not renew your visa?
Remove your visa, yeah.
That's very strict.
Yeah.
Did you have any Japanese background before coming, or you started from zero?
From zero.
So really it was learning hiragana, katakana, and kanji?
Yes.
What was your method to kind of go through this? You were telling me a story about how you seem to like flashcards a lot.
Yeah, we spoke about this before, but I know you know Anki, the application software. I really recommend this software. It's a flashcard system. Each time I'm learning, for example, a new word, I will create the card, and every day learning on this card. So
you were making, I know Anki, you can download sets of cards, and you can kind of download the cards for JLPT N3 or N2 or whichever you're studying for, but you made your own.
Yes, I made my own, and I spent a lot of time. I create, I never know how to say number in English, but comment on dit 35 000? 35,000 cards.
How many hours did that take?
Probably 1 or 2 hours a day for a few years, maybe 5 or 6 years.
Do you still have all those cards?
Yes. Sometimes I'm thinking about selling it, You can buy Anki deck, I think.
I only ever got the ones you can get for free, free download. So I don't know if you can sell them, but 35,000 cards, that's
if
huge.
I can sell it, probably have a good price. I don't know.
So you did that, you study, and also during those first few years, you started working, right? Because for most people that come to study in Japan, they work part-time. What kind of experiences did you have for work at the beginning?
I'm a stereotype. I worked as a waitress, as a French teacher, and as a model. And the model was the first. When I was in school, I had a classmate who was doing modeling, and he said, a lot of foreigners coming in Japan doing model jobs, so you should try too. And in the first place, of course, I was like, no, why? No, it's not my purpose, etc. And actually it works. So
modeling, you've been doing it now for 8 years. So it does work somehow, right?
Yeah.
You stuck to it, although you were a little reluctant to get started. How did you get into this? So your friend introduces you to modeling and you're like, I'm not sure. How do you get into that after? What's the first step?
I really like challenging myself. So even if I had no chance, I want to try anyway. And to become a model, it's actually very easy. You just have to go on Google and research foreigner model in Tokyo. And you will find a lot of different agencies. You just have to contact them, send a message, and explain, okay, I'm on working holiday visa, I am student visa, I want to work as a model, is it okay? And they will say, yes, of course, just come in an agency and have a little interview, taking pictures and photos, and okay, you're a model. Very easy.
I have this image of a model that has to maybe walk on a runway, do a fashion show, maybe do some acting for like a commercial. So there's a certain level of experience involved as well in understanding cameras, how to pose, how to. That's not the case.
That's not the case as a model. You have like professional and really doing a catwalk, and know how to pose, etc. But we are model like more, for example, if you watch on TV a commercial with a family, you will have the mother, the father, and grandmother, maybe 70 years old, and she's a model too. That's her job. So you can be yourself. You don't have to be tall or thin, etc. And it's not that difficult to acting. I'm a shy person, so it was difficult for me enough at the beginning. But it's okay. I mean, everyone can do it, probably.
So a model is not a kind of fashion model, but more like you represent a type of person in front of the camera. And so if a company, mostly companies that want to advertise, need an old lady that has white curly hair, they need to find a model that is an old lady with white curly hair and kind of fits that description, right?
Yes.
So you sign up to this model agency after looking for it on Google, and you're like, hey, this is me, I want to be a model. And then they call you and they say, please come to our office.
Yeah, just simple as that.
What's the next step?
The next step, for example, to have a job will be, I'm always take this example, but for example, Toyota want to have a model. They will ask to the agency, I need a girl, 20s. She have to be blonde hair. She have to be middle long hair, for example. And then the agency will check on the list, in the model list, and pick up a profile. And this profile, they will send us a mail. Are you available to do with Toyota advertising in September, blah, blah, blah. And if you say yes, your profile will be shown to the client, shown to Toyota. And Toyota will pick a profile. And this profile will go on audition. And if you succeed the audition, you have a job.
So they will still come and check with you first if you're interested in the job or if you're available, right? So if it's for a brand, maybe the brand doesn't match your values, or you don't want to be you don't want your image, because essentially you're selling your image, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want this image associated with a brand that does, I don't know, let's say you're not a smoker and you have an ad for a smoking brand, you don't want to be on a smoking brand ad, you can say no.
You can say no, but basically there is also money issues. So if you're working on model, it's not a very stable situation. So basically you accept everything, probably. I don't know. I was accepting everything.
So let's go back to this example of Toyota. You are selected in this shortlist and Toyota calls you to come for an audition. How do we picture these kind of auditions? Is it like a big, large studio with lots of lights, lots of cameras, people running around everywhere, and like a series of models kind of lining up and take 1, take 2, take 3, and you have to act?
It really depends on the audition. Sometimes it's really small audition. You just come. There is 1 or 2 person, just one camera, and say, oh, okay, just turn around and make pose. So very easy. Sometimes there is 20 people. The producer, etc. Anyway, a lot of people. And also, when you arrive on audition, there is a room, and sometimes a lot of people are waiting to do the audition. And yes, sometimes they're asking to act, and sometimes it's difficult. They say, oh, can you cry a little bit? It's rare, but it's already happened to me one time.
Crying on command is hard.
It's very, very hard. But basically it's more like, okay, you will pretend to eat this, and it's very good and very overreaction, because for Japanese commercial, it's very, very overreact. So you like this kind of reaction.
The best cheese I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, but even if it was the best cheese in your life, you are not like this. But they want you to be.
What was the most fun audition you had?
Fun audition. Oh, it was for a shabu shabu brand, and they asked us to pretend to eat shabu shabu, and like really have like kind of sexual thing, very weird. And we were like 10 person and do it one by one, and we were all very like a little bit cringe, you know.
Everyone's awkwardly sitting around the table making very sensual noises while eating shabu shabu.
Yes. Probably, yeah.
So you go back to these auditions, like for shabu shabu or for Toyota. You play the roles, do the poses they ask for. You said sometimes there's a lot of people that are lining up or trying to get the gig, so not many will probably be selected at the end, right?
Yes, sometimes there is like 50%, and you know there will be only one who will be selected. In the beginning, I was doing the audition, but when I'm coming and there is 50 people, I just come back home.
Not worth it?
Not worth it, because you have to wait several hours, and the chance that you will get the job is really, really thin.
And so if you do get the job, so you go home, they give you a call, they're like, hey, can you come and be here on this day to film the commercial?
Yes. If you get the job, they will say, okay, yes, like you said, on this day, you have to, sometimes they ask to bring some clothes. Sometimes for small things, they ask you to make up by yourself, but normally there is a hair make. Yeah.
Okay, so they'll prepare everything. You just show up, and then they kind of...
yeah.
Throughout the last 8 years of doing this kind of modeling work, you must have been into many, many different kind of commercials. How do you adapt from like, okay, one day you're filming something on TV, you have to act, and one day it's just like a photo shoot. One day it's for a fashion brand, and next it's for like a shabu shabu restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
How do you adapt to this kind of constant change?
It's not that difficult, I think. They make you in the mood when you are on the sets. If you have to be really happy, they put music.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They will set the mood to like
yes,
pump you up a little bit.
And it's very interesting job when they have kids on the set. Kids not listening what you say. So they really have to, if you have a happy scene, all the Japanese staff will be behind the camera and yay, go, go. Because the kids will see that and will be also very happy. So sometimes it's really interesting.
So for shabu shabu, to get you in the mood, they starve you for 2 days and then you get very, very hungry and you feel like...
I don't know about shabu shabu. I didn't get the job. I just did the audition for the shabu shabu.
Are there jobs that you kind of declined where you're like, I don't want to do this. This is too strange of a request or too uncomfortable?
Did I? For example, if you don't want to show sous-vêtements, comment on dit?
Like underwear?
Underwear. You can, of course, refuse if you don't want to doing underwear job.
But you can set this probably with the agency before.
Yeah.
Right? So you are registered with one agency to do all these jobs and they kind of treat you, or how does it work? Do you work with multiple agencies?
I have 10 agencies, probably. But I'm working with 2, 3, 4 agencies only. So
basically those agencies are just a place for you to list your profile, and then the companies will kind of contact the different agencies, and the more profile, like websites you're listed, the more chances you have of...
Exactly. And also, as I say, I'm in 10 different agencies, but working only with 3 or 4. Actually, it's also like probably trust issues. If you're just going to an agency, they don't know you. They probably don't know if they can trust you fully. And probably at the beginning they will give you small job and don't take risk. If you go into a commercial for Toyota, they probably not propose you if they not trust you. So you have to make job and say, okay, this person is okay. If I'm not showing up at the Toyota shooting, what's happening?
Yeah,
there is a lot of person who's coming. The lights, they take a place, and all this
waiting for you.
Yes, and I'm not coming. What's happening? So they have to trust a little bit.
I can imagine it's a kind of career where, you know, some months you get a lot of jobs, some months you get less jobs. And you were saying earlier that for many it's kind of something they do as a plus when they're students, or they have a first full-time job but they want to earn a little extra, so they will do some modeling on the side. Is it possible to do a full-time career out of it?
I think it's difficult. There are models who doing this as a career, but it's very unstable. It's not stable situation because sometimes you really, this month I did 0 job, nothing, and sometimes you have a lot of money. It depends. Usually people who was doing model job doing another things also. And if you are doing only modeling job, you are recruited by the model agency. They will apply for your visa. So you become an entertainment visa. And other person have to ask for authorization for working also as a model.
So it becomes kind of tricky, and especially as you mentioned, some months with no paycheck, that's scary, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Has this happened to you, where you suddenly, this month, no modeling gig, nothing?
Yeah, that's happened, yeah.
Taking a lot of risks is kind of part of this?
Yes.
Is there a way to kind of manage this?
Yes. I don't think, if people watching, I don't think it's a good idea to come in Japan in purpose to have this kind of job.
As a career,
yeah.
There may be this image, I'm foreigner, I have this specific look, I could fit this stereotype that they're looking for, I can get a lot of jobs, but it's not really true.
I don't think so. If you want to do something, if you want to try, because it's interesting actually to doing modeling job, have your own job, and on your holidays, if you want to try, why not?
Do you have any kind of modeling gigs that you particularly enjoy now that you've had the chance to do a lot?
Model jobs that I liked? Traveling. I did Canon 2 times. One time it was
Canon, the camera brand.
The camera brand. One time it was Okinawa for 3 days. One time it was Taiwan for 1 week. And they basically just asked me to, act like you visiting the country. And I will just take picture. So it's very good. You have to pay nothing. You're traveling and get money.
So they give you the nice camera. You take photos. Can you keep the photos at the end, or they take it back from you?
This is very tricky because you cannot have the photo because it's not yours. So they never tell me when the commercial will going on TV, or I never know when or where I am. Sometimes I have friends who just contact me. Oh, Fanny, is that you? I saw you on the glass here. Is that you? And I didn't even know.
So you sometimes walk around Tokyo and then you see a big billboard and it's like, wait a second, that's me. I shot this last year and suddenly it's
That's happened, yes.
Yeah. Which one was the most awkward, where you kind of suddenly see you in a public place on a big screen or something?
It was on the subway. I had... it was advertisement for wine, yellow wine, actually, Australian one. And
Yellowtail? The kangaroo thing?
Yes, it's yellowtail, sorry, yellowtail. And I was on the train and that's me.
And then the person next to you is like, oh yeah, that's her. And like,
probably not noticed.
No. You were also telling me a story before we started rolling that you worked on the new Kabukicho Entertainment Tower kind of project. What was that about?
There is a new tower in Shinjuku called the Kabukicho Tower. And there is a very big screen on the tower. And I was for the opening of the tower. So during for maybe 6 months, when you're going to the tower, you could see me. And it was cool.
And you got to see the pre-opening.
Yes, I was in the pre-opening.
So it seems like modeling, when you get to work with some bigger brands that have some budget behind, you get to do some pretty cool gigs of traveling around and experiencing things.
That's cool, but it's not always good. It's not always interesting. So as I told you, I don't remember how to say it. When you are back,
I just like a person standing in the background of a shoot.
Probably standing job.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
it's
actually
called
not
like
sure.
that.
The English word doesn't come to me now, but
okay, it's standing. So it's really not interesting. It's very long waiting, just standing, and also money is not good. So modeling job is interesting. You have good opportunities and experience, but not all job. Probably 70% of the job is not that interesting. I don't know.
So you
60.
You stand all day long in the back. What kind of revenue can you?
For this kind of job, you can have probably $100 to $200.
So about 20,000 yen for the day of standing in the back of a shoot.
Yes.
Yeah, if you convert it hourly, that's not that much.
No, it's the same as work as a convenience store.
For someone who's interested in actually trying and wants to go to these auditions, is there something you can actually prepare that gives you a better chance at getting the job?
First, it's experience in acting in front of the camera. When I start to doing modeling job for the first year, I never got an audition because I was shy and I didn't know how to act. So it's coming with experience. And also, if I can have an advice, it's to know which brand you will apply for and understand what kind of person of profile research this brand. So if it's sportswear, wear sportswear when you're going to the audition. Very simple, but a lot of people not doing that. But it's very important.
So they'll come and show up in a suit and tie because they're used to doing a kind of their self-presentation in a suit and tie, but it doesn't match the vibe of that ad. Is there one particular ad where you kind of prepared for and that helped you get the job?
Yes, it's for yellow hats. A lot of yellow. Yellow hat. It's for
car parts.
Yes, car parts.
With a yellow cowboy hat, you can see it all around.
Exactly,
the car.
Exactly. And they have each year a new girl who's dancing on the commercial, and it was good money. So I make my own research, and each year there is a girl who's dancing, but in a very awkward way. Very simple, not that. Yeah, and I watched all the videos, and when I came to the audition, I did the same thing, very like small, and I got the audition probably because I watched this before.
So good to be prepared, good to know what you're stepping into and kind of adapt to your environment. We talked about experience a little bit, but at the very beginning of our conversation, you explained that being a model basically means you represent a certain type of person, so physically. Now that you've been doing this for 8 years, you've also changed. You've grown, maybe your hair changed. Does this mean that you've gotten different gigs because you're not the same type of person you were when you started?
Yes. If you have an hobbies, you can use it in model. For example, if you're doing piano, if there is a job which they need a pianist, a person who does piano, you can have job because of that. If you're doing sports, you have like body shape, you can have sports job. So yes, it helps.
But in terms of like experience, your experience working isn't really that useful, right? Because you still have to represent the right type of person for the job.
Yes, not that important. Really, experience, except that you're improving at the audition, is not that important.
And for you, what kind of jobs are you doing now that you were not doing at the beginning, and where you noticed a change because of your?
Because now I am 32, and when I arrived in Japan, I was 22. For now, and now I'm doing like mother stuff, and before I couldn't because I was too young.
So now you were the maybe the young traveler experiencing, and now you're just the mother.
Yes, or just married woman, for example. Yeah.
That's quite a change.
Yes, it hurts my feeling, but.
So you see the job coming in, it's like, oh no.
Oh no.
No more traveling to Taiwan. Now I have to do these mother stereotypes, maybe.
Yes.
In terms of the ads themselves, you've worked on commercials from Yellowtail to Canon to other things. Do you notice specific requests or things that the commercial companies are asking you to do, or a way to behave that is maybe different from the commercials you're used to from watching maybe on French TV growing up?
I don't think so.
Because there's maybe this idea, or I have this idea often, that a lot of Japanese commercials are very over the top, very exaggerated. The reactions, the catchphrases are very like repeated many times. Did you notice that this translates into specific requests you get when you're on set, or not so much actually, that it's also changing a little bit?
No, I didn't notice.
So 8 years doing modeling, and little by little you like wanted to explore something new, right? So now the majority of what you do, you still do modeling, but you're also a streamer on Twitch, and you started making content on YouTube. What kind of got you interested in this transition to something completely different?
Corona came, and it became more and more difficult to have job, because probably company didn't have that much money to spend on commercial because of the corona, and also because you cannot regroup. So I went alone in my place, and I really like video games. So I was gaming alone, and I wanted also to improve my Japanese skills. So I played in Japanese. And I had a friend who said, but Fanny, do you know Twitch? You can do the same thing online, streaming, and people can watch you and help you in Japanese, for example. So at this moment, I start to streaming on Twitch in Japanese, doing Japanese game.
That must have been hard.
Yeah, in the first place, yeah, because there is no one who's watching.
So you're basically playing the game, you have the recording or the live streaming on, and no viewer, nobody commenting or asking.
And when you pass to 0 to 1 viewer, very stressful. Now I have maybe 1,000 people who's watching. Is not that stressful that I had in the first place.
When there was
0 to 1 person.
And that person says hi in the chat and you have to reply.
Yes, and I'm panicking.
How did this kind of develop? You start streaming in Japanese, and I'm just thinking to myself, if I were to play a video game and I'm reacting to something, my instinct will be to react maybe in English or in French or German, but not in Japanese, because it's kind of a far more difficult language, very different from what I grew up with.
Probably it's happened. I don't remember, but probably I swear in French.
Sometimes
I think
for the swearing.
For the swearing time, yes.
Not so much swearing in Japanese anyway.
Yeah, you cannot.
So how long did you keep going with this Japanese stream? How did you see kind of the growth, that it wasn't just 0 to 1 viewer, but actually 0 to 100, and suddenly you start having a community?
It took me a lot of time to pass to 0 to 20 viewers. Very long time, few months. But I didn't know at this moment, but it's very fast, actually. Some people just stay at 0 or stay at 10 and never grow up. In few months, I had viewers, and when I start, it was really on purpose to learn the language and just have fun with some people who's watching. And I grew up, and more and more people was watching, and I start thinking about, maybe I could one day live and get money with this. And I start thinking about how can I have more people on my stream. And I was streaming in Japanese for 1 year, probably, only in Japanese. I spoke with Japanese people about culture. I thought it was very interesting chatting. And I start also to speak English in my stream. And then I had a person who wrote about me on a website, French website, and said, there is a French woman who's living in Japan for a long time and streaming in Japanese. And at this moment, a lot of person came, French people, and I start to speak 3 languages on the stream.
And suddenly it was chaos.
Chaos, completely chaos. And I stopped very quickly. I stopped speaking English, and I thought there is more and more French and less and less Japanese. So I switched and became full French.
I want to go back a little bit to this first year you did entirely in Japanese, because you said you were talking about culture with this. And at the beginning of our conversation, you said that what made you stay in Japan was your interest in understanding how Japanese people interact and why they react certain ways that are different from what we are used to. What kind of interactions did you have with the Japanese Twitch community? What kind of questions or what kind of debates maybe were they interested in?
Sometimes tricky debates. I actually like tricky things, but sometimes Japanese community is not that open to criticism. So you have to be very, very gentle and never judging when you're speaking to a Japanese in general, and also on Twitch is the same. So sometimes it's, especially when I had 2 communities, French and Japanese communities was difficult because it was a connection between French culture and Japanese culture. And in French culture, we love to criticize everything.
Criticize everything, fight everything, challenge everything,
yes.
Complain about everything.
Yes. But Japanese, it's the exact opposite. They don't like it. They don't understand why we are doing this. So when I had two communities, I had to connect it and to try to be smart to not offend everyone, no one. And French people ask a lot about the place of the woman in the society, for example.
In Japan.
In Japan, because they don't understand, because it's not they don't understand, it's just because we're doing it another way. And ask to Japanese people, and I translate in Japanese people, why are you asking that? We are like we are, and you are like you are. And sometimes it was difficult.
It must be quite interesting too, right? You get these questions in your chat in French, you have to translate it into Japanese, suddenly you get the Japanese audience to react and they will ask questions, and then you have to translate it.
Yes. And I have to say, sorry, I am just translating. It's very difficult.
And eventually you decide, okay, this is too much, this is too exhausting, I can't keep doing this, and you focus on French.
Yes, and also because of that, it was the main reason, but also because I was talking a lot, I'm chatting a lot on Twitch, but I'm also, of course, doing video games. And when you had two languages, it's very difficult. Which language should I use when I'm playing game, for example?
So how has your audience evolved since? Now that you focused on the French audience, you kind of give a window into Japan to your community a little bit, explain your perspective, reflect upon things like washing machines in Japan.
Yeah.
What kind of content are you working on now?
Now I'm planning to grow on YouTube now, because I have now money from Twitch, which I can invest in YouTube to have a, how do we say monteur in English?
Editor.
I can pay an editor now. So I'm trying to do something on YouTube.
Yeah, we were talking about this a little bit off camera, this kind of change in content creation all over the world, right? Where the expectations for quality are constantly increasing, and to get started as a young creator, you have to suddenly meet good sound quality, good image quality, otherwise your chances of people finding your work, the algorithm pushing your work, are very, very small.
Yes. Sometimes we are watching very, very good videos and no one watching. It's very rare it's difficult to grow up on this platform. And yes, I think now people who want to start on YouTube basically have money, because you have to buy a mic, you have to buy a good camera extra.
So for you, you did many years of Twitch with like your home setup and talking to the community, and that started generating a revenue, which you're now investing into creating content on YouTube, where you like to write videos and kind of look into things. Do you have a content plan in mind? Your videos right now are still a little bit diverse, right? You have this in-depth piece about washing machines, about Japanese. I keep bringing up the washing machine, because that video I was really like, oh yeah, I never thought about that. For everyone who can speak French and wants to watch it, it's there, it's interesting. But what do you like about YouTube, where it's more like a planning as opposed to Twitch, where you just turn on the camera and you start talking to people?
In YouTube, it's very prepared. I'm writing a script. I'm thinking about what kind of editing could be. So it's very different from Twitch, and I really like it. Which word should I use to people really understand what I want to say? And it's more, you have to make more research. You have to, it's very, I like it. It's different.
Japan, especially now since it opened up after COVID, has seen a big influx of content creators, influencers, and there's endless amount of Japan content. How do you feel about this kind of getting into this and as an up and coming creator yourself, to see that so many videos have been done 5 times, 10 times, 100 times, 5 best cafes in Kyoto, 5 places to go here. How did it scare you away a little bit from getting started into?
When I was thinking about doing YouTube, I just stopped myself in the first place. I was just, no, there is thousands of YouTuber, French YouTuber, with speaking about Japan. I cannot say more than they say, but I talked with a friend who told me, yes, but for example, a person who speak about, I don't know, experience in international couple, Japanese and French couple. Probably there is a ton of video who speak about this, but your experience is unique. If another person talk about this and make a video, and if you doing a video, the same subject, it will be different video. And in a perspective on a person who like to know more about international relationship, French and Japanese, or foreigner and Japanese, they want to watch a lot of video, not just one. They want to have a lot of different perspective.
So that kind of motivated you to say, okay, I'll just try and share my own perspective and see if my community likes it.
Yeah.
So now you're making 2 different types of contents on 2 different platforms, very different platforms. Do you notice a difference in like the community? And most of your content is still somewhat centered around Japan, but the people going to watch each of them may be there for different reasons. Do you see different questions, different reactions to?
People are very kind on Twitch, probably because you have the reaction of the streamer just after you write the message. And people are a little bit picky on YouTube, I think.
So they like to criticize a little bit more.
Yeah.
Sounds very French.
Yeah.
So
I'm okay with that.
You've been in Japan for, well, today we record this, in 2 years, in 2 days it's going to be 10 years.
Yes.
And you've been modeling for 8, streaming on Twitch for nearly 5.
Yes, nearly 5.
What's your plan now moving forward? You came here without a clear plan of wanting to stay here. You had your first few experiences. Now you're settled. You have a home. You have jobs you like, things you do, and you're starting to see this grow. Where do you want this to grow?
Next step is probably going to other country in Asia. My main job is streaming, and I can stream from everywhere in the world. So I would like to, for example, go in 2 months in Thailand, 2 months in Bali, and just live there, and then be back to Japan.
To kind of keep Japan as your base, stay here long term, but to kind of use this opportunity to travel a little bit more.
Because I have the chance to doing this. A lot of people cannot because of their job, and I have the chance, so I have to try.
What's the first destination?
I'm starting in 2 weeks, actually.
Oh.
I'm going to Singapore.
Cool.
And after Malaysia and Thailand.
So a little trip to the sun. Now that it's finally getting cooler here, you're going back to where it's warmer and...
Yes.
We covered a lot of topics. We talked about your modeling career, your kind of transition to becoming a full-time Twitch streamer. What advice would you want to give to someone who is kind of listening to this, maybe from your community as well, that is like, I want to come to Japan, I want to do something here, but they don't know where to start or how to do this? You said one advice is don't come for modeling full-time.
Yes.
But anything else you'd recommend people to do?
A lot of people asking that. Okay, I want to live in Japan. What should I do? Very difficult question, actually. Not that simple. It depends of what did you study? What are your degrees? Can you speak English? What old you are? How old? How old are you? Sorry. My English is not good. If you are not 30, you can ask for working holiday visa. It really depends on the visa, actually. If you want to live in Japan, the first problem will be the visa. So how can I get a visa? You can have working holiday if you are not 30. If you speak English, you can probably find a job because you speak English. If you have a good degree in something, you can find a working visa with this degree. You have to think about visa first.
So visa is important, but in a way, for you, you came here thinking that you would learn Japanese to go back to do your master's. Yes. And now you're doing modeling and streaming, which are things you would have never thought about before coming. No. Do you think people need a clear long-term plan? Like, I want to come to Japan and I want to do all of this and this and this, or they just need to know more, like they want to come here and have a reason for coming and then experience and see where it takes them?
You can try this. Actually, that's what I did. So, but it would be probably better to have a plan if you want to stay in Japan. But also, there is a lot of people who are asking to live in Japan, who say they want to live in Japan, but actually even never went in Japan, never come. So come in Japan, make your own experience first, and if you like Japan, try to planning.
Thank you, Fanny, for coming and sharing your experience. Very insightful. We'll make sure to link in the description to all your channels so people can find your content. Maybe come say hi on your Twitch live stream next time you're there. Maybe the English community wants to come and see a little bit, and it might make it chaotic once more. But thank you again for answering the questions, coming all the way to Tokyo, from Tokyo. Thank you everyone for listening and watching. This was Unpacking Japan, and we'll be back again next week. Bye. Are you looking for another podcast episode to listen to next? If you like the one you just listened to, I'm sure you'll also enjoy the one that I've selected and linked in the description down below. Go check it out.